At your podcasts, KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
One of us miraculously was able to resist dancing to this. Coming up in just a few minutes, Candy Harper stars in Tell Me I'm Wrong. You get to tell Candy she's wrong. Got to explain why. I'll do that in the text line at 98973. There's a new study that says 3 in 5 people have witnessed or experienced discrimination in the workplace. I think that's about right. I think I've witnessed it. I know I witnessed it in tech. I've talked about my friend Barbary passed over for promotion. I actually was embarrassed to find out I was a level above her. And that was axiomatic there. I feel like in some ways, because I've been talking to a lot of friends who are still working at Microsoft this past week, just building up into this reunion we have every year. And there's a lot now going on of washing out white dudes above the age of 50, which is becoming a real frustration out there. And one guy I talked to, they actually admitted to him. The boss has actually said, we're moving a woman into your position. She doesn't have a lot of experience in this position, but we really need to start putting women in this position. And it's not fair to her. Like, she's a really, really skilled, brilliant woman, but just not in this particular sector. So I wonder how much of this rebalancing is being done the right way.
Well, yeah. So let me provide a response by way of a story. A friend of mine, quite a few years ago, she and I were getting out of college. She was up for Asian American. She was up for a pretty big gig right out of college at the San Jose Mercury News, which at the time was really legitimately considered one of the best papers in the country. It was a remarkably good paper. And it was a big job to get right out of college. And she had gone in through, she had gotten the offer at a minority journalist conference. And we were talking about the issue, because right then was when newspapers were really pushing hard to try and make the newsrooms actually reflect the communities. Imagine that. And there were a lot of mostly white, mostly male reporters who were feeling very aggrieved that their opportunities were getting minimized. She said this, when I said, so do you feel any sort of, weirdness about this? She said, well, the notion that the presumption here is that the criteria was fair before and is unfair now. She goes like, look how many terrible reasons people have given for promoting someone or hiring someone. Boss's cousin, I like that person is cute, this other person knows someone who I know.
We went to the same college.
I love the fact that we both dig British cars. All kinds of bad reasons were applied before. So this rebalancing, as you put it, it was not like it was balanced before and this is rebalanced. It is like it was severely imbalanced before, and whether or not this is the right way to rebalance it is an open argument. But the notion that it was a fine system to an unfair system probably isn't true, and it certainly isn't true based on this particular rationale. But I would also say this, that there is in this was a survey done by Glassdoor. If you're not familiar with Glassdoor, it's a job corporations can pay to post a job, but they also to post a job listing. The site also, though, does reviews of the workplace, and so they actually collect a fair bit of pretty interesting data on the workplace in the United States for those companies that actually participate with Glassdoor. So if you're going to go get a job at Microsoft, you can go on Glassdoor and hunt down your job and the way people feel about doing your job at that particular company.
Yeah, and just to respond to what you said, Mike, I might be too close to this. It's very possible that I am, because I happen to know that the employees in question here have had lengthy careers of 4.0, 4.5, often 5.0 reviews, Gold Star Awards. They've moved the company forward. They've consistently risen. So I know that their performance is not being questioned, and no one's saying it is. I think what I was responding to, in this case, is they actually told my friend, we need to move you out of this management position because we have to have a woman do this. And she is very skilled, as I say, in her area, but she has remarkable lack of knowledge in that sector. I just think it's fair to her, and then now the VPs she supports, they're revolting. I don't want to work with her.
But you're using it by way of a larger example.
Indeed.
As I'm just saying that your specific knowledge of this may not be an appropriate larger example, because what a lot of people would say is that this rebalancing, this idea that it was fair and now isn't fair, probably isn't a valid one.
Okay, so I got your point.
So we've been talking about this on my Facebook page of actual real-world examples that people have come into, because 3 out of 5 witnessed or experienced discrimination. Those are two different things. If you see it happen and you can't identify it, that's the problem. And somebody had said one coworker on our team actually, we believe, has an issue with anyone under 30. He rolls his eyes whenever there's a mistake or even if they ask a question. He says stuff like, oh, common sense before your time, and says little things like that. So that's an ageism thing. The 6 candidates were interviewed. Hiring manager looked at the applications and said, not these 4, pulled out the women under 40. Later, I realized he was eliminating women who could then become new moms in the future because, quote, we already had some of those on staff.
And the interesting thing also about this survey is that there are people who start off as a potential group of people who might be discriminated against. Let's just say women or a minority or some person LGBTQ is not feeling like they are being treated fairly in the workplace. And then there's this other category of people who age into what they would say is discrimination. In other words, they don't start as that, but then they get to the point where, I mean, if I were right now at my age, 54, if I were right now going to go apply to be someone's social media director, that would
You're
be
adorable.
That would be the reaction right there. And now it could be that I'm an expert in this. It turns out that I'm actually not. But if I were an expert in this, it's very difficult to take that job seriously with someone at my age. No one's going to look at you in that particular way. And I imagine there's jobs on the young end that people look at the same thing. And that's a lot of what this is talking about. Is like, it's not always your capacity to be discriminated against is not necessarily a static thing. It actually can evolve over time.
All right, this is what we do now at this time of day, every day. And by the way, this is on Facebook Live. This is called Tell Me I'm Wrong. And today, sitting in the spotlight, Tell Me I'm Wrong, the set, the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, Candy Harper.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an
extremely stable genius.
Okay, then.
To suggest that is the only opinion that matters and the static opinion, and it hasn't advanced from there, is incorrect.
Now tell me I'm wrong.
Millennials don't ruin anything. Tell me I'm wrong. 98973. Feel free to text. Kids today don't know the true value of a hard day's work. Millennials are always on their phone. They're entitled. They've ruined, well, I don't know, marriage, the NFL, real church. Pretty much everything. Oh, wow, this must be the first time in American culture that an entire generation has destroyed so many things. That's sarcasm, a staple of the Zennial. You're welcome. All right, the silent generation loathed their kids' hippie ways, that long hair, those tight pants. You ruined traditional values. Boomer generation hated their kids' obsession with materialism. You ruined the meaning of being content. Generation X, well, they're annoyed that their kids do everything online. You ruined communication. And then millennials, oh, yeah, they're irritated that their kids are now distracted by technology. You ruined social awareness. A few years ago, the playful roast, okay, Boomer, popped up, and then TikTok video went viral. Fun way to throw a little generational shade. That was born. If you have no idea what I just said, just trust me. Whenever anyone older started in on millennials or Gen X or Gen Y or Gen Z ruining something like fireworks or dating or customer service, you would reply, okay, Boomer, have a terrible day. Now, if you use the word snowflake to describe somebody worrying about paying for college, okay, Boomer. Grandma going on a tantric yoga retreat instead of their grandchild's soccer match, yeah, okay, hippie. Dad sends an email to tell you your aunt has cancer, okay, Gen X. Okay, you get the point. It was fun. At least it was. On the New Zealand Parliament floor, a Gen X lawmaker had enough of her older colleagues ignoring her about climate change.
Yet, right now, the average age of this 52nd Parliament is 49 years old. Okay, Boomer.
And then the most okay boomer moment ever, a conservative radio host in Rochester, New York, said, being okay boomered is the new N-word. And he was serious. Because obviously somebody clapping back at your generational critique is the same as a word historically being used to enslave an entire population and inflict psychological trauma. I mean, obviously. So, consider this the eulogy for the phrase, okay boomer. It's fun while it lasted. Millennials don't ruin anything. Go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong. 98973.
That's how it works. You go to the text lines now at 98973. Tell Candy she's wrong and explain why she's wrong in vivid, glowing, literary detail. You okay with memes, too? Because y'all millennials, you love your memes.
Oh, yes, we've ruined communication but created other ones.
Yeah,
like we only talk in emojis.
Send all the GIFs, memes, emojis. In fact, write the whole thing in emoji.
Yes, do it.
Yes.
The problem is my text line doesn't work with emojis.
Tracy said yes, so I don't know.
No,
what
I'm looking at it. No,
all
it
right.
doesn't work with emojis.
Oh,
but I like it. I like because that's how Candy and I communicate.
I think that'd be the way to go. There is a traffic report on the way. It's going to be brought to you by Tracy Taylor. And, it's brought to you by Subaru Puyallup. It's done by Tracy Taylor. What's happening, Tracy?
3 right lanes are now open on North 95 near Boeing Field because of a DOT